good is new bike day. Such an amazing feeling getting a new to you bike, but then what? As I get accustomed to my new Slash here, I'm gonna share a few things that are really crucial when setting up a fresh whip.
All right.
Alrighty, so we've made it to one of Whistler's finest trailheads here. We're gonna set the bike up at the parking lot, and then we're gonna take it on trail to do a bit of and then we're gonna take it out for some on-trail testing. Now, the first place I like to start when setting up a brand new bike is right here in the cockpit zone, but more specifically, the seat height. Now, dropper posts these days come in tons of different lengths, so it's really important that you pick the dropper post that works for you. Ideally, when you're finding your correct saddle height, at the bottom of the pedal stroke around 6 o'clock, you'll have a slight bend in the knee. If you find that your leg is fully extended, chances are it's probably going to be quite straining when you're climbing uphill, as opposed to if it's way too bent here and you're pedaling in this position, it's really going to burn the quads. So finding the correct height, very important. All right, y'all, bar width, everyone's favorite touchy subject, but the truth is it's totally personal preference. So ride what works for you and adjust if you need to. For me personally, on the 29er, having that front wheel just a little bit further away, I actually like to run a slightly narrower bar than, say, my downhill bike. So I'm running 750 mil wide bars today. Feels pretty good when I'm in the downhill position. I've still got lots of room to go side to side, but see what you like. Start with them a bit long and cut them down if you need to. Totally personal preference. Be your own buffalo. And finally, we're on to the bar roll. These bars are actually pretty cool because they have a little indicator on them so that you can match up your head tube angle with the bar angle. Now, even though I plan to take this bike on some really big pedals, I do not choose to save weight with my tires. Instead, I go for a nice mid-weight tire. These guys are the Super Gravity from Schwalbe tires. Really puncture resistance because honestly, who has time to change flats in the middle of the backcountry? Definitely not me. I'd rather go a little bit heavier and ensure that I'm gonna have a smoother ride. I'm running the traditional trail setup for me, which is 18 PSI in the front, 19 in the rear. Now, depending where you live, what sort of terrain you're riding, and your riding style, you're gonna wanna adjust those things just for you to tune in your ride. Because this ride is set up for big enduro days, we've got everything we need pretty much installed on the bike already. So we've got a spare tube here, we've got the pump with my EDC tool, it's got pretty much everything I'm gonna need out there on the trails in case of emergency, water bottle, and then obviously my awesome little snack pack, which is full of good treats today. We got 1, 2, 4, put them up there, 5, okay, the true test though is can your cage actually fit back on the bike? Yeah, all right guys, this is my first rodeo. That's pretty sick. I think that was like 6 Cliff Bars and a full bag of Haribo, so that's all you need for like a 6-hour ride. The suspension engineers out there really know what they're talking about when it comes to setting up a new bike. So we've gone onto the websites, we're gonna set our suspension to the factory settings first, and then we'll be ready to hit the trails and make some adjustments along the way. We've just set the suspension up for my riding weight, so we're gonna do a quick little sag test here. If you don't have, your nice truck here to hold you up, maybe a friend can help you. Get up on the bike, bounce around a bit to lube up the seals, push your O-rings down ever so gently, and then exit the bike. All right, so we're sitting just around 30% sag in the rear, about 15–20% sag in the front. They reckon that's just perfect for my body weight, so I think it's time to hit the trails and test this little baby out. Climbing up to our first descent now, and I gotta say, bike feels pretty awesome under me so far, but let's be honest, it's really all about the descending. So let's get this thing going downhill and see how it really performs. So far, the bike's feeling pretty great underneath me. I'm really getting acquainted on these blue trails, but as you can see, I've used almost all of my rear travel, but not quite the same with the fork. So I'm just gonna add 5 PSI to the rear, stiffen it up a little bit, because next up we're going to the black trails and I really want to see how this thing descends. Before we level up to the black diamond trails here, we're just gonna do a quick little bolt check on the bike. We've taken a couple laps, so it's not uncommon for a new bike to have a few things rattle loose. Luckily, I've got my little tool here for trail side situations like this. Ooh, that was quite loose. And that's why we bolt check, people. Alrighty, bike is feeling good. I'm feeling warmed up, and we're at the top of our first single black diamond descent. So I think it's time to let the bike shine, do what it does best, and let's put it through its paces. So far, so awesome. Bike feels good. It definitely prefers descending, or maybe I prefer descending, who really knows. But that little extra PSI we added in the rear shock, really helpful on the rougher terrain. I'm not bottoming out at this moment, which is exactly what we want when we're setting up a bike. Something I did notice, however, in comparison to my older bike, I'm able to slam the seat a little bit lower, which is nice when you're descending, but you gotta be careful the rear wheel's not sneaking up behind and catching you off guard. It was a super fun day on the trails. I gotta say, the great thing about bikes these days is they're all really awesome. But taking time to dial in your new bike is gonna be the difference in a good ride and an amazing ride. A few things to remember after that maiden voyage are to clean your bike, tighten the bolts, don't forget to tension up those fresh wheels, and lube your chain because they don't stay new for long. All right, see y'all on the trails. How good is new bike day? That'll be great for the outro.